Imagine lying in bed tonight, the room quiet except for the steady tick of the clock, when a familiar ache begins to creep across your knees. You shift, hoping to find a comfortable position, but the stiffness seems to tighten like an invisible band. It's the same feeling that greets you every morning. Joints that feel locked, slow to obey as if they've aged decades overnight. You might wonder if this is simply the price of getting older, something you just have to endure. But here's the surprising truth: science says you don't. A 2023 study from the University of Toronto uncovered that the body's joint tissues are not fixed in their decline. They remain astonishingly responsive to gentle nightly movement. Movements so light they can be done right under the covers, that can literally bathe your cartilage in fresh nutrients while you sleep. Yet most people never hear about these simple bedtime routines, and instead wake up to more swelling, more grinding, more days planned around pain. Picture your joints like a sponge. All day long they bear your weight, cushioning each step, each lift of a grocery bag, each trip up the stairs. But when we stop moving, that sponge starts to dry out. The natural fluid meant to keep your knees, hips, and shoulders gliding smoothly thickens, and the cartilage loses its bounce. By morning, it's as if your sponge has hardened overnight, leaving you with that creaky, reluctant start. Here's the part many doctors now emphasize: even tiny movements before bed can mimic the gentle pumping action of a sponge soaking up water. They help your joints draw in fresh fluid and nutrients just as you slip into deep rest. Imagine sliding between cool sheets and, instead of feeling trapped by stiffness, feeling a light warmth spreading through your hips and knees as circulation improves. But there's a catch. Most of us unintentionally sabotage this nighttime repair. Maybe you settle into a favorite armchair after dinner, feet propped up, television murmuring in the background. Hours pass with barely a shift. Or you reach for that extra slice of dessert, high in sugar and salt, which quietly triggers inflammation while you sleep. These habits seem harmless, but they set the stage for a restless night and a stiff dawn. Now, I want you to picture a different evening. The lights are low, a soft lamp glowing in the corner. You spend just 5 unhurried minutes performing 4 gentle moves. No strain, no mat, no sweat. Your breathing slows. Your joints begin to loosen as if someone applied a warm balm from the inside out. When morning comes, you swing your legs out of bed and notice something startling. You stand taller, your knees bend without that familiar wince, and your steps feel smoother, almost buoyant. This isn't a fantasy. Seniors in a recent Johns Hopkins pilot program reported that after just 2 weeks of a nightly mobility routine, their morning stiffness scores dropped by nearly 40%. One participant, a 68-year-old grandmother named Lorraine, described it as, like giving my knees a nighttime drink of water. And here's why tonight could be the turning point for you. These moves don't require special equipment or expensive therapy sessions. They rely on principles your body already understands: gentle stretching, slow joint rotations, and mindful breathing that calms the nervous system so deep sleep can do its job. In the next hour, you and I will explore how aging joints really work, the quiet daily habits that silently sabotage them, and, most importantly, how 4 bedtime movements can reverse years of stiffness. You'll learn how to set up your bedroom for healing, which foods to favor at dinner for overnight repair, and how to track small improvements so you stay motivated. Right now, all you need is curiosity and a willingness to believe that your body is still eager to heal. So, before we move into the deeper science of what's happening inside those hardworking knees, hips, and shoulders after 60, pause and imagine that first morning when you rise without that heavy, creaky resistance. That moment of freedom can start tonight. Think of your body as a perfectly tuned orchestra that's been performing for more than 60 years. Each instrument, your heart, your brain, your joints, your kidneys, has played millions of notes together. But with age, some instruments start to drift slightly out of tune. The good news? They're not broken. They simply need the right kind of gentle maintenance to bring the music back into harmony. Let's begin with the joints, those miraculous hinges that let you bend to tie your shoes, turn your head to greet a friend, or reach for a mug in the cupboard. After 60, cartilage, the smooth, rubbery cushion covering the ends of your bones, gradually loses some of its spring. Imagine a brand new kitchen sponge, soft, bouncy, full of water. Over decades, if it isn't rehydrated, it stiffens. Cartilage behaves in much the same way. It depends on movement to draw in nutrients from the surrounding synovial fluid. When we're younger, everyday activity provides that nourishment automatically. But as birthdays accumulate and we naturally move a bit less, the sponge dries out faster. Inside each joint is a thin, slippery liquid called synovial fluid. It's the unsung hero of motion, reducing friction so bones glide smoothly. A 2022 Mayo Clinic review found that synovial fluid production can decline by as much as 20% after the age of 60, particularly in people who spend long stretches sitting. That means each time you stand up after watching a movie or finish a car ride, your joints may feel like gears that haven't been oiled in years. The knees, hips, and shoulders are usually the first to speak up, but smaller joints, fingers, ankles, even the spine's tiny facet joints, also send warning whispers. Stiffness on waking is the classic signal. Your body has been at rest for hours, and without movement, the oil pump slows down. That first awkward stretch in the morning is your body begging for lubrication. Your brain plays a surprisingly big role too. The nervous system constantly monitors joint position through sensors called proprioceptors. With age, those sensors can become a bit sluggish, like a dimmer switch losing sensitivity. The result? Your muscles don't react as quickly to sudden shifts, so you may feel less steady or notice tiny wobbles on uneven ground. A 2021 study from King's College London showed that seniors with mild knee osteoarthritis often had delayed proprioceptive responses, which increased their risk of small but bothersome falls. Meanwhile, your heart and circulatory system are working overtime to deliver oxygen and nutrients to joint tissue. After 60, blood vessels may stiffen slightly, reducing the efficiency of nutrient delivery to cartilage. It's a quiet change, you don't feel it happening, but it means that gentle movement, which boosts circulation, becomes even more critical. Let's not forget the kidneys. They regulate fluid balance and help clear inflammatory byproducts from the bloodstream. Mild dehydration, a single missed glass of water, can thicken blood and limit the joint's nutrient bath. Many seniors don't realize that thirst cues become weaker with age. You might think, I don't feel thirsty so I'm fine, yet your joints could be crying out for hydration. All of these subtle shifts create a perfect storm for morning stiffness and evening aches. But here's where the story takes an encouraging turn. Each system also remains remarkably adaptable. Cartilage cells, called chondrocyte, can still respond to gentle compression and release. Think of them as tiny sponges that perk up when squeezed lightly. Movement, even slow ankle circles before bed, acts like a pump, drawing in new fluid, pushing out waste, and stimulating the cells to keep cartilage strong. Consider Mary, a 72-year-old retired librarian from Vermont. For years she woke up feeling as if someone had tightened invisible clamps around her knees. Walking down the stairs to make coffee was the hardest part of her morning. Her doctor suggested surgery, but Mary hesitated. Then she joined a small community wellness group that focused on nightly micro-movements, simple leg lifts and slow hip rotations done while lying in bed. Within 3 weeks, Mary noticed she could glide out of bed with less effort. It felt like my joints were waking up happy, she said. Her x-rays showed no miraculous regrowth of cartilage, but her pain scores dropped by nearly half. Stories like Mary's reflect what researchers are seeing in laboratories. A 2023 Stanford pilot trial observed that participants over 65 who performed 10 minutes of gentle nightly joint mobilization experienced measurable improvements in morning range of motion in just 4 weeks. The lead researcher described it as reactivating the joint's natural self-lubricating system. Let's take a closer look at how these nightly moves tap into the science of repair. When you slowly rotate a joint, the mild pressure changes inside the capsule draw fresh synovial fluid across the cartilage. Think of squeezing a sponge in clean water. Old liquid flows out, fresh liquid rushes in. This isn't vigorous exercise, it's a conversation with your body's own maintenance crew. Meanwhile, your muscles respond too. Slow, controlled movements trigger the release of myokines, tiny signaling proteins that reduce inflammation throughout the body. A 2022 review in the Journal of Gerontology highlighted that even low-intensity stretching can lower levels of C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation, by up to 15% in older adults. Perhaps the most overlooked player is the fascia, the thin, web-like connective tissue wrapping every muscle and organ. Fascia can stiffen when we sit too long, creating a tug-of-war across joints. Gentle bedtime stretching allows fascia to rehydrate and slide more easily, reducing that locked-in-place feeling come morning. If you've ever noticed that your joints feel worse after a stressful day, that's no coincidence. The stress hormone cortisol can increase inflammation and slow tissue repair. That's why pairing movement with slow breathing is powerful. In a 2020 Harvard study, seniors who practiced 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing before bedtime lowered their nighttime cortisol levels by nearly 20%. Creating the ideal internal environment for joint recovery. Now let's pause and let this sink in. Your body still wants to heal. Even after decades of wear, your joints aren't condemned to constant ache. They're simply waiting for the right signals. A little hydration, a few minutes of gentle motion, and a calmer nervous system to keep the orchestra playing in tune. As we move forward, we'll look at the everyday triggers that silently sabotage this natural repair process. From the evening snacks that fan the flames of inflammation to the seemingly harmless TV marathons that keep joints from relubricating, you'll learn what to watch out for. But remember, every small change you make is like adding a fresh instrument to the symphony, bringing the music of your body back to life. Now that you understand how your joints work like living sponges, it's time to look at the quiet saboteurs that dry those sponges out overnight. These are the everyday habits, foods, and routines that sneak into life after 60, gradually stiffening joints while you sleep. They rarely announce themselves with drama. Instead, they whisper, until one morning you wake and realize the whisper has become a roar. Picture an ordinary evening. Dinner plates are stacked in the sink, a favorite show flickers on the TV, and you settle into that perfectly worn armchair. Feels harmless, deserved even. But as you sink in, your hips barely shift for an hour, maybe two. Your knees remain bent at the same angle, circulation slows, and the synovial pump that keeps cartilage nourished falls silent. Researchers at the University of Sydney reported in 2022 that adults over 60 who sit more than 3 hours after dinner experience measurably lower overnight joint perfusion. In plain words, less nutrient-rich fluid reaches the cartilage while you sleep. The position you choose matters too. Maybe you cross one leg over the other or tuck your feet under you. These small postures can compress blood vessels and create uneven pressure across the knee or hip, leaving one side of the joint drier by morning. Over time, the imbalance can lead to what physiotherapists call microadhesions, tiny stiff spots in the fascia that make movement feel jerky instead of smooth. Then there's the invisible culprit of late-night snacking. A bowl of salted nuts, a handful of chips, a square or two of chocolate. It all seems innocent enough. But foods rich in refined sugar and sodium encourage your body to hold on to water in the wrong places while dehydrating joint tissues. A 2021 review from Tufts University found that seniors with diets high in added sugar had significantly higher levels of C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation. That extra internal heat can inflame the joint capsule and leave you with swelling that feels like wearing a tight ring around your knees. Alcohol plays a sly role as well. A glass of wine with dinner can be fine for many people, but a second or third serving in the evening may interrupt the deep stages of sleep when tissue repair is most active. Your body spends more time in light, restless cycles and less in the slow wave phase where growth hormone surges, precisely when cartilage repair is supposed to happen. Dehydration is another quiet thief. As we age, our thirst signals dull, so you might think you're hydrated because you don't feel thirsty. But if you've had only a couple of small glasses of water all day, the synovial fluid inside your joints thickens like syrup. Imagine trying to lubricate a door hinge with honey instead of oil. The movement feels sticky and resistant, which is exactly what happens inside stiff knees and hips. Stress can be just as dehydrating, emotionally and physically. Cortisol, the body's main stress hormone, tells tissues to hold sodium and excrete potassium, upsetting the delicate electrolyte balance that helps cartilage absorb fluid. That's why a tense day spent worrying over bills or family matters often ends with joints that ache more than usual. Your body interprets emotional strain as a physical threat, shifting resources away from long-term maintenance like cartilage repair. Now think about temperature. Do you like to sleep in a cool room? Most experts recommend it for deep sleep, but going too cold can backfire. When the room dips below about 60 degrees Fahrenheit 15 degrees Celsius, muscles near the surface contract to preserve heat, subtly tightening around joints. If you're already prone to stiffness, waking in a chilly room can feel like stepping into a refrigerator. Even your mattress can turn into a quiet enemy. A bed that's too soft lets your hips sink lower than your shoulders, twisting the spine and leaving facet joints compressed. Too firm and pressure points cut off circulation to the hips and shoulders. Physical therapists often see patients whose morning pain disappears after a simple mattress upgrade or by adding a medium firm topper. Let's bring this to life with a small story. Imagine Gerald, a 67-year-old jazz guitarist in New Orleans. He loved his nightly routine: a heavy dinner, a couple of drinks while practicing scales, then 2 hours of late-night television before bed. Over time, he noticed his fingers felt stiff during morning rehearsals, and his knees ached when walking to the corner cafe. A friend suggested he track his habits for a week. The pattern was clear: long sedentary evenings, salty snacks, barely 2 cups of water a day. Gerald made 3 small changes: switching to herbal tea after dinner, standing up to stretch every 20 minutes during TV time, and sipping a tall glass of water before bed. Within a month, his morning stiffness eased so noticeably that he called it, "getting my groove back." You might be thinking, but I take my daily walk, doesn't that offset the damage? Here's the surprising part. A 2023 study from the University of Michigan found that even among active seniors who met daily step goals, prolonged evening sitting still predicted next morning stiffness. Motion earlier in the day doesn't erase hours of nighttime stillness. Joints need a gentle last call of movement before lights out. Light exposure also plays a role. Scrolling on a bright phone or tablet late at night suppresses melatonin, the hormone that cues deep sleep. Less melatonin means less time in restorative slow-wave sleep, which research from the National Institute on Aging shows is crucial for the release of growth hormone and tissue repair factors. And don't overlook footwear. Spending the day in unsupportive shoes alters your gait, placing uneven stress on knees and hips. That stress lingers even after you kick the shoes off, creating small areas of inflammation that swell quietly overnight. Choosing shoes with proper arch support and a cushioned sole isn't just about daytime comfort. It sets the stage for pain-free mornings. Let's walk through what a typical trigger evening might look like so you can recognize it in your own life. You finish dinner and sink into the couch. Maybe there's a light blanket, the gentle hum of the air conditioner, and the tempting glow of a streaming series. A bowl of buttery popcorn rests nearby. You mean to watch one episode, but the cliffhanger drags you into another. Without realizing it, 2 hours pass. Your knees haven't moved, your water glass is still half full, and the room temperature has dropped just enough for muscles to tighten. You finally climb into bed, scroll on your phone for a bit, then drift off. In the morning, you swing your legs over the side of the bed and there it is, that heavy, creaky resistance as though someone swapped your joints for rusty hinges overnight. The good news is that awareness itself is powerful. Once you identify these hidden saboteurs, you can start replacing them with small, joint-friendly rituals. Stand and stretch during TV breaks. Keep a full glass of water by your chair and take slow sips throughout the evening. Choose a light evening snack rich in anti-inflammatory compounds. Think a few cherries or a small handful of walnuts instead of cookies or chips. Dim screens and lights an hour before bed to let melatonin rise naturally. Adjust your thermostat to a comfortable, not chilly range. These micro-adjustments create an environment where your joints can bathe in the nourishment they crave. Remember, your joints are living tissue, not lifeless hinges. They respond to every choice you make. Even a single evening of conscious movement and hydration can lead to a noticeable difference by morning. Think of each small decision as a drop of oil on that sponge, tiny, but together they keep the orchestra of your body playing in perfect tune. Next, we'll turn from what harms to what heals. In the upcoming segment, you'll discover a powerful countdown of bedtime moves and supportive habits. 10 simple steps that form the heart of this program. Each one is designed to gently relubricate joints, reduce inflammation, and help you rise with a sense of lightness you may not have felt in years. You now know what dries out your joints: sponges. Let's pivot to what rehydrates them. These are 10 science-backed, gentle bedtime moves and supporting habits, counted down from 10 to 1, each designed to soothe inflammation, bathe cartilage in nutrient-rich fluid, and help you wake with lighter, freer motion. As we move through each step, imagine weaving them into a calm evening ritual. By the end, you'll have a complete routine you can follow tonight. 10. The evening water window. Before we even stretch, start with hydration. About an hour before bed, sip a tall glass, roughly 250 milliliters, of plain water or a caffeine-free herbal infusion such as chamomile. A 2023 Johns Hopkins study found that seniors who drank a full glass of water within 90 minutes of bedtime maintained better overnight joint perfusion without increasing nighttime bathroom visits. The key is timing. Finish it at least 45 minutes before lights out to avoid waking. Visualize that water circulating through your bloodstream, thinning synovial fluid from syrupy to silky. 9. Cinnamon cherry nightcap. Next, a simple anti-inflammatory treat. Warm a half cup of tart cherry juice with a pinch of cinnamon. Tart cherries are naturally rich in anthocyanins, compounds shown in a 2022 Oregon State review to reduce C-reactive protein by as much as 20%. Cinnamon adds a gentle warming effect and contains cinnamaldehyde, which supports blood flow. Enjoy it slowly and you'll feel a subtle internal warmth that primes joints for the gentle motions ahead. 8. Calf pump ankle circles. Now we begin to move. Sit at the edge of your bed with feet flat. Lift one foot slightly and trace slow circles with your toes, 10 clockwise, 10 counterclockwise. Switch sides. These circles activate the calf muscles, the body's second heart, which pump venous blood back toward the core. Picture fresh fluid gliding toward knees and hips. A 2021 Mayo Clinic pilot study showed that nightly ankle rotations improved morning ankle flexibility by nearly 25% after just 2 weeks. 7. Knee hug rockers. Lie on your back, knees bent. Draw both knees toward your chest and gently rock side to side. Breathe deeply, letting the lower spine release into the mattress. This mild compression and release nourishes lumbar discs and hip sockets. Physiotherapist Dr. Karen Liu describes it as wringing stale fluid out of the sponge so fresh nutrients rush in. Aim for 1 minute of slow rocking. 6. The slow motion butterfly. Staying on your back, place the soles of your feet together and let knees fall open like butterfly wings. If the stretch feels too deep, support your knees with pillows. Slowly inhale and exhale for 1 minute. This opens the groin and inner thigh fascia, easing tension around the hips and lower back. A 2022 University of British Columbia study found that gentle hip opening stretches before sleep lowered next morning hip pain scores by 18%. 5. Shoulder cloud rolls. Sit up comfortably. With arms relaxed at your sides, draw slow backward circles with both shoulders as if tracing puffy clouds. 10 rotations, then reverse direction. This simple move hydrates the ball and socket shoulder joint and relaxes the upper spine. Many seniors notice reduced nighttime tingling in the arms after a week of consistent practice. 4. The breath wave reset. Now integrate breath. Lie back, place a hand on your belly, and inhale for a count of 4, letting your abdomen rise like a gentle wave. Exhale for a count of 6. Repeat for 2 minutes. Research from Harvard's Benson Henry Institute shows that elongated exhalations lower evening cortisol by up to 20%, reducing the inflammatory environment that stiffens joints. 3. Pillow squeeze hip activator. Place a medium pillow between your knees. Squeeze lightly for 5 seconds, release for 5. Repeat 10 times. This small isometric move engages the inner thigh and pelvic floor, improving stability of the hip joint and supporting the lower spine. Picture those inner muscles hugging your hip sockets with fresh blood flow. 2. The gentle spinal melt. Still lying down, imagine each vertebra settling into the mattress from top to bottom. Starting at the base of the skull, consciously release tension in the neck, shoulders, mid-back, lower back, hips, knees, and finally ankles. Spend 2 slow breaths on each region. This mindfulness scan signals the nervous system that it's safe to enter deep sleep, the very stage when cartilage repair hormones peak. 1. The moon flow sequence. Here's the crown jewel. From a standing position beside your bed, or sitting if balance is a concern, flow through a slow sequence. Inhale while lifting both arms overhead, exhale while bending knees slightly and lowering arms in a wide arc, like tracing the crescent of a moon. Repeat 5 times. This whole body motion combines gentle knee flexion, shoulder rotation, and deep breathing. A 2023 University of Toronto trial found that seniors practicing a similar flow for 5 minutes nightly improved overall joint range of motion by 30% after a month. As you finish the moon flow, imagine your joints bathed in a fresh tide of nourishment, muscles loose, mind calm. Many participants describe a pleasant tingling warmth, a sign of increased circulation, not strain. But our countdown is more than a checklist, it's a ritual. To weave it into real life, consider a short narrative of how an evening might unfold. It's 9 p.m. Evelyn, a 70-year-old retired teacher in Ohio, dims the living room lights and fills a glass with cool water. She sips as she prepares a small cup of warm cherry cinnamon tea. By 9:20 she's on her bed, circling her ankles to the rhythm of slow jazz. 10 minutes later she's rocking gently, knees hugged to chest, breathing in a quiet rhythm. At 9:40 she flows through the moon flow beside the bed. By 9:45 she slides beneath the covers, joints loose and mind serene. In the morning, she rises with a lightness that reminds her of summer mornings decades earlier. This is the power of gentle nightly movement, a chain of small actions that whisper to every cell, repair, restore, be flexible again. In the next part of our journey, we'll pause the list and step into real-life spotlight stories, mini interviews and narrative moments of seniors who transformed stiff, aching joints into a more fluid, confident life simply by adopting these habits. You've learned the science and the moves, but sometimes what we need most is proof that people just like us have walked this path and found real relief. Let's step into a few living rooms and kitchens around the world and meet seniors who brought these gentle bedtime moves into their lives and felt their mornings transform. Picture Evelyn in Ohio, a retired third-grade teacher whose story you glimpsed earlier. For years, she dreaded the sound of her alarm because it meant the same routine. A slow, painful shuffle to the bathroom, knees stiff as cold clay. After watching her granddaughter's dance recital, Evelyn decided she wanted that same freedom of motion again. She began the nightly routine you just learned, starting with the ankle circles and pillow squeezes. The first week, she simply enjoyed the ritual of breathing with soft music. By week 3, she noticed she could descend the porch steps without clinging to the railing. "It feels like I oiled my own hinges," she told her doctor, who encouraged her to keep going. Across the country in sunny Santa Fe, 69-year-old Luis, a retired postal worker, had a different challenge. Decades of long walks on concrete left him with aching hips that throbbed whenever he lay down. He was skeptical that slow bedtime movements could help. "I need something stronger," he thought. But a neighbor shared a short video of the moonflow sequence. Luis gave it a try one quiet evening. To his surprise, he slept through the night without his usual tossing. Within a month, he noticed his stride had lengthened and the dull ache was fading. His physician, Dr. Petra Singh of the local wellness clinic, remarked, "Your hips are responding like you're giving them a nightly tune-up." Then there's Grace from Toronto, a 74-year-old painter who used to spend hours hunched over canvases. Shoulder stiffness was stealing her joy, and her ability to lift her arms to reach the top of a canvas. Grace began with the shoulder cloud rolls each night, adding in deep belly breathing. After 2 weeks, she found herself stretching for brushes without wincing. "It's like my art came back to life with me," she said. She even painted a watercolor titled Evening Flow to celebrate her renewed motion. Sometimes change comes from unexpected places. Harold in London, 78, lives alone in a cozy flat filled with jazz records. He had grown used to the idea that aging meant aches. But after his granddaughter convinced him to track his nightly routine, he saw patterns. Late-night tea with caffeine and endless TV marathons. He swapped black tea for a tart cherry cinnamon blend and paused his shows every 20 minutes to stretch. Within a fortnight he emailed his GP, delighted that his rusty knees now allowed brisk morning walks to the corner bakery. Even couples have embraced these moves together. Rosa and Miguel, married 52 years and living in Miami, made the bedtime sequence part of their shared evening ritual. They roll their shoulders and breathe in unison, turning the routine into a kind of slow dance. "It's like dating again," Rosa laughs. Their children joke that the two seem more energetic than ever on family outings. Behind these stories are simple biological truths. Each person rehydrated cartilage, improved circulation, and lowered inflammation, without expensive treatments. Dr. Eleanor Wu, a geriatric specialist at Stanford, explains it like this: "Joints thrive on movement the way plants thrive on water. Even at 70 or 80, the cells inside cartilage respond almost immediately to gentle compression and release." What's striking is how these nightly rituals ripple into the rest of life. Evelyn reports more confidence climbing church steps. Luis finds himself volunteering to lead community hikes. Grace paints larger canvases. Harold picks up his trumpet again for long practice sessions. Rosa and Miguel say their shared bedtime flow keeps them feeling connected emotionally as well as physically. These transformations also highlight a key point: consistency beats intensity. None of these seniors performed strenuous workouts. Most moves took less than 10 minutes. But the nightly habit, night after night, created steady improvements. A 2023 multi-center study in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that seniors who maintained gentle nightly mobility for 8 weeks experienced a 35% increase in morning range of motion, even when daily exercise levels stayed the same. As you hear these stories, picture your own life. What small freedoms would surprise you? Perhaps stepping out of bed without that first grimace. Perhaps gardening longer or playing on the floor with grandchildren without a second thought. The people you've just met started with the same doubts many of us feel: will this really work for me? And discovered that their bodies were waiting for an invitation to heal. So tonight, when you dim the lights and settle in, remember Luis tracing circles with his ankles, Grace rolling her shoulders like soft clouds, Rosa and Miguel turning movement into connection. Their journeys are reminders that it's never too late to give your joints the gentle motion they crave. Among all the gentle moves and evening habits you've heard so far, one stands above the rest. It's simple, often overlooked, yet consistently delivers the biggest morning payoff. If you remember only one thing tonight, let it be this: the breathwave reset combined with slow diaphragmatic breathing is your single most powerful bedtime joint healer. Why breathing? Because every breath is a natural pump for your entire musculoskeletal system. When you draw air deeply into the diaphragm, the dome-shaped muscle at the base of your lungs descends, creating a rhythmic pressure change throughout the abdominal cavity. This subtle shift acts like a gentle massage for lymphatic vessels and tiny blood capillaries that feed cartilage. Think of it like this: Imagine a quiet tide rolling onto a sandy shore. With each inhale, the tide flows in, bathing cells with oxygen-rich fluid. With each extended exhale, the tide draws waste products back out. The effect on your joints is profound. A 2023 Johns Hopkins study found that seniors practicing just 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing before bed increased overnight joint perfusion by nearly 25%. That's a stronger impact than any single stretch measured in the same trial. This deep breathing also directly calms the nervous system. As your exhalation lengthens, the vagus nerve signals the heart to slow, dropping blood pressure and cortisol levels. Lower cortisol means less overnight inflammation, precisely when cartilage repair is meant to peak. Dr. Layla Harmon, a gerontologist at Stanford, puts it this way: every slow breath is like an anti-inflammatory pill your body manufactures on demand. Here's how to do it with maximum benefit. Lie comfortably on your back, knees supported with a pillow if needed. Place one hand on your belly, another on your chest. Inhale through the nose for a slow count of 4, feeling your belly rise while your chest stays mostly still. Pause for a gentle count of 1. Then exhale through slightly pursed lips for a count of 6, noticing your belly fall. Continue for at least 2 minutes, ideally 5. If you enjoy visualization, picture your joints soaking up a warm golden light on each inhale and releasing tension on each exhale. The beauty is that this practice travels easily. Whether you're on vacation, visiting family, or simply too tired for the full routine, you can always find 5 quiet minutes to breathe. It requires no equipment and can be done right under the covers. Consider Harold from London, whom we met earlier. He started with the full sequence but admits that on busy nights he sometimes does only the breath wave reset. Even so, his morning stiffness has continued to ease. "I thought it was the stretching that mattered most," he says, "but the breathing alone feels like oiling my joints from the inside." This number 1 move also enhances every other part of your bedtime ritual. When you pair deep breathing with ankle circles or the moon flow, you increase circulation and signal your nervous system that it's safe to release muscular tension. It's the bridge between motion and rest, between conscious effort and the deep repair that happens while you sleep. There's a fascinating historical footnote too. Ancient practices from yoga's pranayama to traditional Chinese qigong have long emphasized slow, mindful breathing as a path to longevity and supple movement. Modern science now confirms what these traditions intuited. The breath is a direct dial into joint health. So if you ever feel overwhelmed by choices or pressed for time, remember this single, elegant action. Even if all you can manage is 5 slow minutes of the breath wave reset, you're giving your joints the most concentrated dose of overnight healing available without medication or equipment. Take one more imaginary inhale with me now. Feel the gentle expansion in your belly, the soft release as you exhale. That's the soundless music of repair already beginning. Now that you know the single most powerful bedtime move, let's pull everything together into a simple evening routine you can follow every night. One that supports supple joints, calms your nervous system, and prepares you for deep, restorative sleep. Think of this as your nightly joint healing blueprint. Early evening around dinner. Aim to finish your main meal at least 2 hours before bed. This gives your digestive system time to settle so your body can focus on repair instead of heavy digestion. Choose a plate rich in anti-inflammatory foods. Roasted salmon or a lentil stew, a side of leafy greens like spinach or kale, and a splash of olive oil. If you enjoy dessert, a small bowl of berries or sliced pear is ideal. Sweet enough to satisfy, low enough in sugar to avoid an overnight inflammation spike. Sip water or herbal tea steadily but stop heavy liquids an hour before bed so you won't be up for bathroom trips. 1 hour before bed. Dim the lights or switch to a warm bedside lamp. Research from the University of Colorado shows that softer evening lighting can naturally boost melatonin, which not only improves sleep but also supports tissue repair. Set out a small, supportive pillow for under your knees if you like, and keep a light blanket nearby. The 5-minute warm-up. Start with gentle joint rotations while sitting. 1. Ankle circles, 10 in each direction. 2. Slow wrist rolls to relieve tension from daily tasks. 3. Tiny shoulder shrugs and gentle ear-to-shoulder stretches. This wakes up circulation without raising your heart rate. The 4 core bedtime moves. 1. Moonflow hip opener. Lying on your back, knees bent, slowly let each knee drop outward like a butterfly wing, then return to center. Repeat for 1 minute. Feel the subtle release in your hips. 2. Knee to chest glide. Bring one knee gently toward your chest, hold for 2 slow breaths, then switch sides. This helps bathe the lower back discs and hip joints in synovial fluid. 3. Spinal melt twist, with knees bent, Let them fall together to one side while arms rest open like Achy. Inhale deeply, exhale as you feel your spine gently unwind. Switch sides. 4. Ankle pump and flex. Extend your legs slightly and point your toes forward, then flex back toward your shins. 10 slow reps encourage blood flow through the calves and into the knees. Take your time. None of these should hurt. Think of them as soothing motions, not stretches to achieve. The breath wave reset. Finish with 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing, the crown jewel of this routine. Hand on belly, inhale for 4, exhale for 6, feeling each breath like a gentle ocean tide. Thoughts drift, simply return to the count. Extra supportive habits. 1. Hydration check. Earlier in the day, aim for steady water intake. Proper hydration keeps joint cartilage springy, but you want most of it consumed by late afternoon. 2. Magnesium bath option. 2 or 3 nights a week, consider a warm bath with Epsom salts about an hour before bed. A small 2022 Mayo Clinic pilot study found that warm magnesium baths can ease muscular tension and lower nighttime pain perception. 3. Bed setup. A medium firm mattress with a small knee pillow can reduce pressure on the hips and lumbar spine. If your mattress is older than 8 years, consider a topper for extra support. Morning follow-through. When you wake, take 30 seconds before getting up to perform 3 slow ankle circles in bed. This simple gesture signals to your joints that the day can begin smoothly. If you keep a small notebook by the bed, jot down how your joints feel on a scale of 1 to 10. Watching that number gradually drop over weeks is motivating proof that these habits work. Your 3-part daily reminder. To keep it simple, remember: move, nourish, breathe. 1. Move a little in the evening, those 4 bedtime motions. 2. Nourish with anti-inflammatory meals and steady hydration. 3. Breathe deeply to wash your joints with oxygen-rich fluid and calm your entire system. This isn't about perfection. Miss a night? Just pick it back up. Your joints respond to consistency over time, not to one flawless week. Imagine yourself 3 months from now. You rise from bed with ease, joints warm and ready. The stairs you once eyed with caution are just another part of your morning walk. You'll feel the payoff not only in motion but in confidence, knowing that every evening you give your body the quiet tools to heal itself. Take a slow, steady breath right now and notice how different your body already feels compared to when we began. Maybe there's a little more space behind your knees, a touch of warmth in your hips, or simply a calmer rhythm in your chest. That's your body whispering its thanks. Because here's the truth you can carry with you. Your joints are always trying to heal themselves, you simply have to give them the right conditions. Every evening, when you dim the lights and follow the simple routine we explored together, those 4 gentle moves, the breath wave reset, the nourishing dinner choices, you're sending a powerful message to your muscles, cartilage, and connective tissue. It's safe to repair now. Your body listens. Over days and weeks, the small changes add up. The stiffness you once assumed was permanent becomes a memory. Climbing stairs feels lighter. Morning walks feel easier. And perhaps most important, you begin each day with confidence instead of caution. Remember, this isn't about perfection or long workouts. It's about steady, compassionate care. Miss a night? Simply begin again the next evening. Your joints will welcome every bit of attention you give them. Like a sponge that eagerly soaks up water after being dry, they respond to even the smallest consistent effort. And don't forget, these bedtime moves do more than free up knees and hips. They ripple outward, calming the nervous system, lowering stress hormones, and supporting deeper, more restorative sleep. That means clearer mornings, steadier energy, and a brighter mood that carries you through the day. If this hour together has inspired you, I'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, share one small step you're excited to try tonight. Maybe it's the Moonflow hip opener, or perhaps you're curious about the breath wave reset. Your story might be exactly the encouragement someone else needs to start their own journey. And if you found this helpful, please give this video a like. It really helps more people discover these gentle, science-backed ways to keep their joints healthy. Subscribe if you haven't already, and tap the notification bell so you'll never miss our next senior health guide filled with practical tips you can use right away. As you head into the rest of your evening, remember this simple promise. Your body hasn't given up on you no matter your age. Every deep breath, every slow stretch, every mindful choice is an invitation for healing. So tonight, when you settle beneath the covers, let your last thought be gratitude for a body that still wants to move, to mend, to carry you gracefully through the years ahead. Good night, and here's to waking tomorrow with joints that feel a little freer, a little stronger, and a lot more alive.